But another debate which I think people in our cities are really concerned about amongst all this corruption, and that's how our cities are collapsing. Just let's look at two of our main southern cities, Bangalore and Thiruvananthapuram, why these cities have now turned into virtual garbage dumps.
Mountains of muck, street after street. That is what Bangalore has been living with every single day. An approximated 5,000 tons of garbage is what the city's population produces every day. But the government seems to not know what to simply do with the trash, which is why, because of the rainfall in the last 2 days as an after effect of Cyclone Neelam in the Bay of Bengal, garbage which was piled up has now spread over streets like this. The BBMP has begun clearing up the dump and has been claiming that virtually every street is being cleaned up. But then the garbage is only moving to trucks. But where does it go from there? After villagers around the Mavelipura dump yard protested against any more dumping of garbage, the government has been on the lookout for landfills. While the government claims the problem will be solved in 3 days, after almost all landfills were served for, it seems that now finally the government has found a 400-acre farmland near Dodballapur on the outskirts of the city. But we ask, is that the permanent solution? The BBMP says it's clearing the garbage, but with the outbreak of dengue and with more than 500 cases in the city being reported of dengue, it seems that the people of Bangalore reject that claim, calling it utter rubbish.
In Thiruvananthapuram, I am in a residential area, but to come to stark reality, this is the waste and the garbage which has been disposed in front of the houses. People here have been facing problems day after day since past 6 months.
We don't have the place to put the garbage, and we are used to put on roadsides, and the people are not there. We are depositing the waste there, so it will create the diseases.
Unfortunately, the common man is caught between this tussle between the government and the corporation.
One incinerator has been brought into the city to treat the waste which is lying in different places. What we have been told is the lack of timely liaison between the panchayat and the corporation authorities is what led to this drastic situation where the common man does not know where to throw their daily waste anymore. As a result, piles and piles of garbage on different streets in Trivandrum. Here in Thiruvananthapuram with camera person SP Babu, Sneha Koshi for NDTV.
Joining us this evening is Mr. M. Ali, the Urban Development Minister and Environment Minister in Kerala, and I'm also Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw still with me. Mr. Ali, thanks for joining us. As both the Urban Development Minister and Environment Minister, just looking at those pictures of what's currently happening in Thiruvananthapuram is both an environmental hazard, it's a hazard for citizens in the city, the threat of disease. Why is the government unable to tackle this? Do you feel there needs to be more citizen or civic participation as well?
It's really a problem in Trivandrum. For the last 6 months or so, the problem is continuing. But we are trying our best to solve this. First we are trying to solve this problem by source level treatment of solid waste. That's the house, from the house, if we make a waste, then we treat it from there itself. Then the second thing is that, the existing system, what we have, the old system, that we are upgrading. And the third thing is that, we are planning some new plants, 7 plants throughout Kerala to produce electricity from the waste.
But as we've seen those pictures, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, that's in Thiruvananthapuram, but you know it personally because of what you see around you every day in Bangalore. And ironically, of course, the contrast, the cleanup we see in New York 2 days after Superstorm Sandy, when despite being literally blown away, things are back on track. Why is it that we can't handle a problem which seems so basic as garbage disposal?
Well, Sonia,
Kerala, you see, we have...
Sorry, I'll just come back to you, sir. Just asking Ms. Shaw, I'll just come back to you. Go ahead, ma'am.
The tragedy, Sonia, is that this is always a crisis management kind of reaction of the government to address any of these major urban problems. First and foremost, there's been no planning. There has been no forecasting of growth. I mean, you know, today we know that 50% of the world's population lives in cities, and in India it's 30%, but by 2030 it's definitely going to be 50%. So a city like Bangalore, which has about close to 8 million people today, is going to be 16 million people by 2030. Are we planning for this growth? We know that, you know, waste has been a huge problem. Waste management has been a huge problem for the last decade. We've been basically trying to work with the government to say you need to do things, you need to address this situation, but it's always fallen on deaf ears.
The irony, of course, but also, and especially in Bangalore, Kiran Mazumdar, the question often raised that Bangalore transformed itself into a Silicon City in a way. You've seen all those wonderful glitzy corporation buildings which have come up of corporates there.
Without roads?
Without infrastructure, and often the sense of isolating themselves from the life and the city around them. And this, in a sense, has come back with this physical manifestation of the garbage dumps outside.
You know, I really think...
Yes, what are citizens or people of Bangalore doing to contribute to the solution?
Issue.
But how are people of cities contributing to the solution? Because you've seen often in cities across India, they'll throw the waste out on the road and say our houses are clean.
Yeah. So I think basically in Bangalore, at least, we are starting a citizens group movement where we are looking at you know, how to manage waste. We've got a lot of experts in the city who are looking at this big crisis. I think we are trying to work with the government. The first thing the government has done is to mandate segregation of waste, because actually, as you rightly said, New York City very efficiently deals with its waste. You can deal very efficiently, you know, with the waste if you have various, you know, systems in place. Segregated waste is the first step.
Yes.
But then you have a truck mafia that refuses to collect segregated waste. So that's the next thing we have to tackle. And then you have to deal with creating methanation plants. You have to deal with creating large composting plants. You need recycling of you know, solid
long-term
waste.
problems as well. Mr. Ali, that's really the question. Why is it that governments, whether it's Karnataka, whether it's Kerala, are in crisis management mode? I mean, you literally have garbage piling up on the streets before action is taken. Where is the government going to find area for landfills? Isn't it really about reinventing a completely different solution from how we've been dealing with it for years?
You see, in Kerala, we have a separate problem. You know that we have a land shortage. You know, is there no bare land available at all in Kerala? And the population density is very high. We cannot just fill you know, the land like the other states, you see, like Tamil Nadu or Karnataka. What we are doing, what we were doing is that, you know, the old style of converting this waste to manure, you know, like composting and the biogas, you know, plants like. So now what we have done is, you know, we know that, you know, it's not possible because as you said, you see, the people who are living in the towns, you see, are increasing. We have around 50% of the people in Kerala are living in towns now, and the waste is increasing day by day. So what we have decided is to go to the modern plants, you know, where gasification, pyrolysis and gasification, that type of thing. We produce electricity out of this thing, and I think we will be able to, the first in our plant will be in Trivandrum. It will be ready by next March. And in Cochin maybe another, yeah.
Well, next March, I mean,
you know,
again,
Sonia,
how is it? Kiran, just to ask also, as you respond to that, the final thing, when we talk about the recent dengue outbreak in Bangalore, you've seen it happening in cities around India as well. The links are obvious in a sense, aren't they? But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just want to say, you can even hear from what the minister is saying, that there is no sense of urgency, there is no political will to take on these kind of issues and really invest in waste management technologies. I just think everyone is looking for landfill solutions, and that's not the solution. You have to look at these kind of issues in a very different way. The world has solved these problems. Why can't we simply start adopting best practices from around the world? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are enough solutions available. But I think government is simply not capable of really implementing all these various solutions. I think they are still trying to, you know, tinker with a few solutions here and there, but they are not addressing this whole problem in a comprehensive way. That's my fear.
Mr. Ali, I have to give you the chance to respond to that before I end. Go ahead, sir.
That is not true, when what she said, it's not about Kerala, because we are
no, it's not about Kerala, it's about, I think she means all politicians. I don't think she's saying specifically about Kerala.
No, I mean, what I said is, we are trying to sort out this problem by introducing the new methods, like, gasification, pyrolysis and all. We can, we have planned, in fact, we are starting 6 plants within next 1 year or so. We'll be able to process around 15,000 to 2,000.
The next 6 months to 1 year, but then till then, of course, those pictures we are watching right now, it's garbage out on the streets, diseases being spread.
In the meantime, it's not that we are not doing anything. We are working on it. You see, what we are doing is landfilling, and we are the old system of pyrolysis. I mean, the composting and this biogas and things like that we are doing.
Of
it's
course,
not that we are just sitting idle.
But as I said, just looking at those pictures, it's clear there's an emergency situation anyway. You may not be sitting idle, but lots more needs to be done. The camera is showing those pictures as we speak. But thank you so much, Mr. Ali. Thank you for joining us tonight. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, thank you for joining us tonight. Of course, on a formation day also of Karnataka. Thank you very much for joining us.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.